Hello, and welcome to another author interview with Boo Ludlow, the author of the failed Technomancer. Boo, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is Boo Ludlow. I live in Utah. I got 3 kids now as of about 2 weeks ago. My debut novel was The Failed Technomancer. It's a sci-fi story, near future post-apocalypse. And that story was born from a conversation that I had with a friend where we both agreed that zombies were pretty boring and overdone. I thought to myself, if I'd tried to make zombies interesting for myself again, what would I do? And that turned into robots eating people. And then my second published story, Inner Demon, that's a found family fantasy story about a girl with amnesia whose friend goes missing. And as she starts looking into figuring out what happened to her, she starts finding answers to her own past. And I got another project on the way. Can't stop.
Oh, that's great. And kind of digging into that, what's your motivation for writing? Why do you tell stories?
I enjoy it. That's the long story short. I think that's the biggest reason. But, also I just love books, and I'm the kind of guy who I really like trying to dig into the stuff that I love. So like I also love tabletop role-playing games, and I have my own system that I'm working on. I
Really?
enjoy board games. Yeah.
Wow.
And I really enjoy board games, and I've tried my hand at making a few. I I like figuring out how the engine works for the stuff I enjoy.
Oh, that's great. I think having the enjoyment factor as an author is one of the most important things because it's definitely a hobby that you have to put a lot of yourself into and a lot of just sometimes almost monotonous if you don't enjoy it.
There's definitely a lot of editing for me, especially. There's a lot of monotony to it, so you got to take the joy where you can get it.
And what's your preferred writing method? Do you have a dedicated writing space, or is it just kind of wherever?
I have a dedicated writing space. My goal is to write a minimum of 500 words per day, but I prefer to do 1,000. I definitely don't hit that goal every day because life is crazy busy. I used to my writing process used to be I had a little bit of time that I set aside every morning, lunch, and evening so that I could get short bursts in. But as life has gotten busier, I now just take whatever time I can get wherever I can get it. Yeah. I wish I would like to have a more formal process than that eventually. But yeah, to anyone else out there who feels like you don't have time, you can squeeze it in there if you make it a high enough priority.
I feel like we all have time to find something that wastes our time. It seems
Yeah,
like whether
and
that
and
be
that's
social media, movies, or whatever. That,
that's definitely something I struggle with.
but if you choose, kind of going back to the enjoyment thing, if it's genuinely something you enjoy, then yeah, you'll find the time for it.
Or make it.
Yeah. And you've done a lot more than just write your books. You've also done the audiobooks for your books yourself. What was that process like?
So I got the idea to do the audiobook first from my uncle. Well, sort of. He's my mom's cousin, so not literally an uncle, but I call him my uncle. His name's Bo Stevenson. He's done Super Bowl ads before. He's not like a super famous voice actor, but like he's real good. He really knows his stuff. And he suggested that I give it a try. He recommended some equipment for me to start with. And yeah, I just gave it a try. The difficult part for me was finding an audio person to clean it up. Because the dangerous part about doing everything yourself is it takes a lot of time to teach yourself to do things that are outside of your preferred wheelhouse. Like that's the reason why I don't deal with book covers. It would take way too much time for me to teach myself how to make a good book cover when I'd rather just be writing the next book. Um, and I already have precious enough writing time as it is. So the hardest part for me was finding an audio engineer so that I didn't have to teach myself that part. And
Mhm.
thankfully, Mike, who we kind of sort of met each other through,
Mhm.
was able to help me out there. Um, yeah, I think this is a messy way to answer your question. Long story short, I knew there's a lot of people out there, including several family members of mine, who only experience books through audiobook.
Mhm.
So it was very important to me to have an audiobook so I could cast my net as wide as possible and get as big of an audience as possible. And one of the bigger reasons that I chose to voice the books myself is because I enjoy reading stories. I read to my daughters all the time and do funny voices. So I figured I'm not professional, but maybe I'm
Mhm.
slightly above amateur.
Yeah.
And also, it's significantly more affordable to do it yourself than it is to hire a voice actor. No offense to you pros out there, but like you guys are way out of a starting indie budget.
Yeah. A lot of the time, it's just like I feel like that's always the question as an indie author. It's like, do I pay someone for this or do I do it myself? And going back to what you were going through, it comes down to time. And it's like, what is the cost benefit here?
Hmm. I've met with other indie authors who like have literally not spent a dime on their writing other than like money that they've made from selling copies of their books. And I say more power to those guys. I'm really happy for them that they could make that work. Maybe I just don't have the patience for
Hmm.
that. um, but yeah, for me, certain things are worth it. Apparently, a voice actor was out of my budget, but an audio engineer, no.
Yeah. No, that's great. And have you been able to reach more audiences with that?
Um, a little bit. I've gotten a little bit of sales through Amazon, sorry, through Audible and through a service called Findaway Voices. I think they've changed their name to In Audio lately. Um, but I don't expect to get much of an. I don't. I wasn't
Hmm.
expecting much sales, and I didn't get many sales. Um, and the reason for that is I haven't really put any money into advertisement at all. Most of the research I've done into indie authorship has basically concluded that you don't make money as an indie author until you have a backlog.
Hmm.
Um, and it's usually recommended to have a backlog of like minimum 3 to 5 books. So I didn't see the point in doing advertisement until I had that many books out.
Yeah. No, that's a great decision. But
I have gotten some sales through organic growth and conversation with people. I'm on, I guess it's called X now, but everyone calls it Twitter.
hmm
I've gotten some sales through that. Had a funny experience a while ago where some author, I forget her name, got canceled.
hmm
And I weighed in saying that this was stupid, that
hmm
her getting canceled. And it caused a bunch of people to dogpile on me, which then resulted in me getting more sales for a short period of time. So um, being canceled is a good thing, I guess, nowadays.
yeah, sometimes it's so weird. Like book sales, I don't know if you've had this experience. Do you have those strange like book sales just like overseas that you've done like no
Yeah,
marketing and they just
random guy from Russia or something. And I'm like, surely this is a scam. Like, why
Mhm.
would some random Rush, does he even speak English?
And it's like I
Hopefully.
yeah, I have a couple of those. I have a couple in England. I've had a couple just yeah, in Asia. I'm like I didn't do anything, but I guess they found my book somehow.
And I'm not complaining, just
Yeah.
I don't know what I did that attracted your attention, but okay.
Yeah. It's just it's such a wild journey. And to people kind of starting out this journey, what's your advice to new authors?
The journey of writing in general or
Yeah.
becoming an author?
Journey of writing in general, and then you can kind of transition into being an author if you want.
Okay. Um, I mean, this probably sounds like so obvious that it's stupid, but like just write. There's a there's a lot of people out there who like to say they're a writer or describe themselves as an author, but like they don't actually sit down and write every day. or at least put in a genuine, sincere effort to write every day. And so, they never finish anything.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be a writer, like, write.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be ridiculous if we lived in a world where athletes never got out on the field and ran around or wrestled or whatever. Um, and then as far as the actual authorship side of things is concerned, um, you kind of gotta. There's no template. There's
Mm-hmm.
no there's no beaten path to success like in other hobbies or careers. It's really, you got to make of it as you can as you go, and that's whether you're trying to be independently published or traditionally published. Because like even traditionally published authors don't get as much support as you would expect, and being traditionally published doesn't guarantee sales at all. So you're still going to end up having to figure out how to get your book out there, how to get recognition, and of course you're going to have to actually finish your book and then revise it. But hopefully that's taken care of in the
Mm-hmm.
first stage. With the first bit of advice, just
Mm-hmm.
write, just write,
Yeah.
just write. Um, be flexible.
Yeah. No, I think both of those are just super solid pieces of advice. And it's funny because you say, like you said, it seems so obvious, just right. But so many people just, they struggle with that step. They're like, what do I need to do? And they go to all these writing classes, they go do all these different writing courses, but they don't actually write. They don't discover their own voice. I feel like, oh, it's such a funny problem to have.
And it seems unique to writing to me. I've never met anyone else in my life who's like, oh yeah, I'm a mathematician, and brags about it, and then like he can't do a simple multiplication problem. Whereas there's a lot of people that identify as writers, but they've never even finished a short story. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why writing attracts that kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's super interesting. Like, this is kind of transitioning to a little bit more about your books, just some of the freedom that you get as an indie author. Because in your first book, The Failed Technomancer, all the chapters are, is it in binary? Is that what like chapter one is in?
Yeah, I believe it's binary. I had to get some help on the internet to get the
Mhm.
digits just right. But yeah, it's all zeros and ones.
Which I thought was like a super fun aesthetic, which is something like, I don't know if they would allow you to do that in traditional publishing as much, but just it's something that immediately caught my attention about the book and kind of immediately brought me in a little bit more. What kind of led to some of those decisions of that aesthetic?
Um, the decision felt easy and obvious to me, but and I'm not saying that it was just I was very in the headspace of that world while
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the formatting, and I hired an editor to help with the format. I do it myself now, but at the time I hired an editor to do the formatting. Um, and I was very in the world, this technological world where there are people who are able to basically telepathically control computers and stuff. And I, I, I was trying to think of how that world might represent itself, or I know this is anthropomorphizing a fictional universe a little bit, but how might that universe want to be presented? How might it
Mm-hmm.
think of itself? And then a few decisions like that just seemed to make sense to me, and I got
Mm-hmm.
excited about them, even though they're little things.
Yeah.
And but I think part of the reason I got excited about it is I really like it when books have those personalizing touches to them.
Mm-hmm.
Not every type of story needs that type of thing, but I tend to really enjoy the types of stories that can get away with unique ways of doing chapter headers or unique ways of organizing the book. I really enjoy pre-chapter quotes and
Mm-hmm.
or things along those lines. Um, like how much it adds to the world, even though it's not strictly necessary.
Mm-hmm. No, I think a lot of that passion comes through in your book, and just the fact that you were in that headspace, it's conveyed through those little things. So I just would like to congratulate you on that. That's It's
Thank you.
awesome. And moving on to kind of media in general, what's some of your favorite pieces of media that you've consumed in the last year?
The most impactful series that I finished in quite some time is Larry Correia's The Saga of the Forgotten Warrior.
Mhm.
Are you familiar with Correia at all?
Yeah, just he does. Is it Monster Hunter World stuff?
International, Monster
International.
Hunter International.
Yeah.
Yeah. So most of what he does is contemporary fantasy and features a lot of guns, and a lot of really tough male protagonists. A lot of his stories feel like um, he probably would have been a significantly bigger author if he had been alive and written his books a couple decades ago. But
Hmm.
modern publishing houses don't like the fact that he's a conservative. Um, Saga of the Forgotten Warrior is him writing fantasy, and it is excellent. It's a finished series, very creative. The magic is interesting. Um, its setting is inspired by India, which I haven't read a story, at least that I've really enjoyed. That's played with that setting well in some time. Um, and something that makes it really interesting is it's definitely epic fantasy, but Korea is a master at keeping things lean and mean.
Hmm.
So it doesn't have a speck of the the reputation that epic fantasy can get of spending 3 pages describing a tree or 2 chapters of characters just walking and nothing happens. Not There's not an ounce of fat on Saga the Forgotten Warrior. So if you want epic fantasy that reads fast and every word matters, I recommend that. Um, and then the two other no, one other book that has really impacted me recently is Theft of Fire by Devin Erickson. I highly recommend that.
Hmm.
That one's an unfinished series, and he's taking a few years to get the next book. But it was one of the best sci-fi stories I've read in a long time. I'd put it up there with Ender's Game. A
Hmm.
lot of the stuff that I like, so a little bit on the older side. Um, Unfortunately, I've been having a really hard, other than the Korean novel I mentioned, I've been having a really hard time finding modern fantasy
Hmm.
that I enjoy. A lot of it has a lot of the fantasy that gets most popular right now has smut in it,
Hmm.
um, or otherwise just has a ton of really extreme content in it that I don't appreciate. Um, I'm reading the Conan stories right now. This is my first time. I'm quite enjoying them.
Yeah. No, I've also been kind of diving a bit more into some of those classics. I went through this huge Agatha Christie phase a couple months ago and read a whole bunch of mysteries. That was super fun. I actually just reread Ender's Game as well, and I was just fully taken aback. Like the writing is just so solid. Especially I got
Have
to
you read? Yeah. Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead.
Finish.
I got to interact with Orson Scott Card at LTUE this year, and
Oh,
he was so good and just like hearing him speak and then reading Ender's Game again, it was just like it was a wild experience.
I'd like to meet him someday.
Yeah.
Have you gone on and read Speaker for the Dead, Xenocide, those follow-up books?
That's my next that's the next on my reading list. I'm super excited because I've heard Speaker for the Dead is really, really good.
It's one of my favorite books. Um, Speaker, no, Children of the Mind, and oddly enough, C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce are two books that have uniquely just left me with a feeling that I can only describe as gigantic or
Hmm.
grand. After I finished it, I just had to put the book down and just sit there for a little while, feeling like for once in my life I had a bird's eye view of reality.
Hmm.
Um, really like them. Long story
Yeah.
short,
No, funny enough, I also just read The Great Divorce earlier this year. And that
it's good.
same kind of experience of just like because I read the Chronicles of Narnia, but that was my only experience with Lewis.
Hmm.
And just yeah, it's almost that impossible feeling to describe that it just like the way that he uses words, the way he builds this slightly fantastical setting, but what the themes that he's going for and just the deeper meaning is just phenomenal.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess that's enough gushing about Lewis and Card for a while.
Here's one more I got for you.
Oh, go ahead. Go
I,
ahead.
I've never seen My Neighbor Totoro before.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife and I got halfway through it today. It's not the reason I was slightly late, but it was almost to the reason I was slightly late because I'm not gonna lie, I was tearing up quite a bit. Um, I don't want to. It's an old movie, so probably spoilers aren't an issue. But I'll just say there's a scene where the girls find out that someone is not coming home. Um, my wife and I we were pretty broken up. It was so magical. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
magical story, and it captures the magic of being a child uniquely well. And I was tearing up watching dad in the background, completely missing all the magic, just thinking, oh, I wonder how much magic I miss in my life that at least my girls get to enjoy. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's I haven't watched that one myself, but definitely a high recommendation there. I will.
I'm not a very big Ghibli fan. I didn't
Mhm.
enjoy Howl's Moving Castle or I thought the Crane and His Boy, whatever the newest one
Oh, The
was,
Boy and the Heron.
Boy and the Heron.
That
I thought it was
one's
visually gorgeous, but in every other way, I thought it was basically just Spirited Away, but not as good.
yeah. Oh, it's there's some really interesting ones. I've only watched a couple, so but it's a different kind of movie.
Very more vibe based than plot driven.
Mhm. And I don't know if you get this too, but when you see really good pieces of media, does that inspire you to write stories?
Yes. Um, I mean, because it's most recent, the first thing that comes to my mind is My Neighbor Totoro. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Totoro. Um, I want to write a story that that is one of the stories where I read it and I thought to myself, I want to write something this good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had that experience reading The Hobbit. I enjoy The Hobbit more than Lord of the Rings. I hope that doesn't make me a pariah in any way in the fantasy world. Um, and I could say that about Theft of Fire too. I finished that book and I was like, I want to write something on this level. Um, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to like steal the story or
Mm-hmm.
that I want to write something in that same genre, but like I want to write something that gives me feelings like those stories did.
Mm-hmm.
And that connects to an earlier question you gave me of why I write. I really like stories that evoke very powerful emotions. And when a story particularly hits me hard in a way that I find deeply meaningful or impactful, that often makes me go, I want to write something that's able to evoke that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've captured that at all in your first two books?
Yeah, I say yes, asterisk. The reason I say
Mm-hmm.
asterisk is it's really up to the reader. You know,
Mm-hmm.
not every story is for every reader. Um, but I'm going to use Inner Demon as an example. One scene that I had in mind before I started writing that book is when the main character, her name is Knife, gets reunited with her parents briefly. Spoilers, sorry for
Mm-hmm.
everyone here. Um, and at least I felt a very powerful sense of climax and catharsis to have this girl who has not had a family for so long be able to, at least for a short period of time, be able to feel the love and safety and support that ideally you should have in a relationship with your parents. I get a very strong sense of catharsis and relief when or I did when I was writing that scene and when I was getting through it. I hope that my readers have that same experience or something similar. Um, but whether you do or don't, I think that is a moment. I think that it should be pretty obvious that that's a moment that one of the climaxes that the story was very consciously building to. Uh, you know, a pivotal moment that hopefully hits hard.
Oh, I love that. That's it's wonderful when you have like it's wonderful when you read that in a story, but when you're able to create that yourself, even if it's just for yourself, it's it's a magical feeling.
It feels good.
And for people to experience these stories and find out more about you, where can people find you?
So my central website is booludlowbooks.com. BOOLUDLOW BOOKS.com. Let the author forget how to how to spell for a moment. That's the most consistent spot to get me. I've got social media links there. I've got a blog there. If you sign up for the blog, then you'll get my monthly newsletter. Um, the blog's on hiatus right now because I'm taking way too long to finish my current project.
Hmm.
And also, as I mentioned before, my wife just had a baby, so I got less time than I usually do. And if I got to cut something out, it's going to be the reviews on the blog because I'm right at the finish line of this next project. It's probably gonna be 300,000 words when I finish it.
Wow.
It's the most ambitious thing that I've been working on yet. I love it. It's if you're familiar with Redwall,
Yeah.
my my sort of pitch is imagine if Redwall were written by classic Brandon Sanderson. Um, I feel like I feel like that's a pretty evocative way to describe it.
Oh, that sounds awesome. It's definitely something I will check out once we have more details and stuff because that sounds great.
Thank you. It's called Half Whisker, and I'm doing an experiment with it. I'm going to start publishing it on Royal Road.
Oh.
Everything on Royal Road's
Hmm.
available for free. Um, and the reason I want to give that a try is because one of the hardest things you can do as an author is get discovered. And Royal Road has, as I understand it, millions of people that visit it every month. Um, it's not necessarily a great platform to make money on, although some people do successfully do that by funneling readers to Patreon or other subscription services. But it can be a pretty good way to get discovered if you know what you're doing.
Hmm.
Hopefully, I can figure out what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well.
It's not a portal fantasy, which is what's biggest on Royal Road, but I figure it's worth an experiment,
Hmm.
right?
No. Yeah.
You're never gonna know if something succeeds till you try.
Yep. That's excellent advice. And is there anything else you would like to share?
Read. Read. You're not going to write good books unless you read books. But you don't necessarily have to read good books because
Hmm.
sometimes you can learn a lot from reading a bad book. Do read good books, but also read bad books.
That's it's a great piece of advice to end on. And thank you so much, Boo. And this has been an author interview with the one and only Boo Ludlow.